Welcome, race fans, to another exciting race brought to you by 10-4 Broadcasting, sponsored by Admin Box. Patrick Morrison sharing this racing action along with me tonight is Kynan Jones. The Racing Revolution League, sponsored by Chapman Environmental Services, will be putting on quite a show tonight as over 12 drivers will duke it out along the tight turns of Watkins Glen. Almost 2.5 miles, 8 turns, and 40 laps to get the job done. Fortunately, these drivers out there will only have 5 sets of tires, and I'm sure they will use all of them. This race will be sponsored by Erhardtgroup, your local experts in making memories and personalized service, and Chapman Environmental Services, proudly offering broad-spectrum regulatory compliance, permitting, field sampling services, and more. Visit ChapmanES.com. Kynan, man, we are used to seeing these cars going round and round and round, and now we actually get to see them challenge themselves by making right turns. Road course-wise, I am very familiar with Watkins Glen, and kind of what strategy there is out there, what to do, but, really making it happen is another thing. I have yet to win one or even get close to a top 5. What are your experiences here at the track?
As for my experiences on this track in particular, it's been a little bit less than I preferably would want, but road racing in general, I've got basically the exact same amount of official wins on road as I have on oval, so I'm fairly diverse, but this track with this new scan, just having that bit of extra runoff, it will open up the potential for more racing and maybe trying to just edge out a bit of extra speed through the corners on your competition to try and maybe take a look into the second last turn.
All right, but the guys we do have lining up here in the front. Kevin Orlando takes the pole tonight with a 1:14.13, really the fastest time out there, followed by Trevor Erhardt in the 13, Justice Murphy 3rd, Grant Thorpe 4th, Nick Alves in the 5th position, and really somebody you to keep an eye out for is actually Robert Rader in the 53. He has won the first 4 races of this batch of races that are running here in the season and is actually starting 6th. So we'll keep an eye out for that 53 car and see if he decides, see if he can work his way up front there in that Chapman Environmental Services car. Followed by Ted Rekich there. Let's see. We got James Loveland in 8th, Dan Stanfield 9th, and Peyton Presley in 10th. So Parker Johnson will be following up in 11th, Ray Lane in 12th, Caleb Gilbert in 13th, Scott Negus in 14th, Logan Romney in 15th, and Travis Gilbert in 16th. So really a packed field here, and I'm really excited to see how many of these guys we're going to have racing around here. But from what I've noticed here, Kynan, it is that first turn. I mean, we can get sped up here, green flag drops, it's going to be that first turn is where everybody's going to start getting real antsy and pushing a little harder than they need to in these turns.
This Xfinity car does not like getting slowed down on road courses. From my experience, you may be going in, it's like, oh, I can brake at, say, 200 meters. Then you get on the brakes, it's like, okay, slow down, please. You're not slowing down, and then by the time you know it, you've missed the apex, and you've just lost yourself half a second, just in the first turn alone.
Yeah, really, it ends up being a lot of trouble. I've heard some drivers actually say they play with a little bit of the brake bias as they go. You get into that first turn and you almost want to eke it more toward the front, but not too far because you don't want to, lock up the front tires. You'll lose steering. But then later on through the race, when you get more toward the bus stop area or you start hitting the carousel, they aim for more rear brake. That way the front tires can carry them through. So it'll be interesting to see the different driving styles of some of these guys. Some of them have take shortcuts, kind of really ride those rumble strips pretty hard. Others, they take it very conservative and kind of let the race come to them. But I really, most of these NASCAR drivers, I mean, the left turns is your thing, and having to make that right is just such an unusual idea to take out. It messes with the stagger of the car, how you have to set up the car, and watch your tire wear now, because if you take it a little too hard in one turn, because you used to think, hey, I'm just I'm just kind of, I'm tight in 1 and 2, but I'm loose in 3 and 4. You can make an adjustment here. How do I say I'm tight in 6 and I'm loose in 2? How do I fix that?
Most of the time, you just need to drive with your foot. if you can be easy on the throttle, you're able to just take it easy on corner exit, allowing the car to take the natural line that it wants to, but you can also use your braking just to help get the car turned in, or getting slowed down is going to be a big part as we're coming to the green flag now.
Oh, yeah, and this is going to be a really good takeoff here. It looks like Kevin Orlando will be our race leader. Go ahead and take this first green flag. Off he goes. Really, actually, a slow start there. He may be taking a conservative for this turn one, and really, this is the jam up right here as we get in that Michelin chopper view. Kind of see how everybody gets squeaked through. Excellent. Looks like everybody pretty much came out. We'll get a little bit of Robert Raider there. And right here is the other scary part that I've heard most of these guys. These are the S-turns, as you can see. One right, one left, and this really loosens the car up, and these guys start sliding backwards. As you can see, Robert Raider is actually really in a bad spot here, as we see him slicing on the inside, and he's going to have a hard time getting this first right coming into the beginning of the bus stop there.
He's going to be looking, try get it up the inside of the 24 as he has appeared to the 24 drifting out wide. He's not going to be able to carry it in the mid corner, but seems to just let Raider by.
Oh man, what a great move there on the carousel. Nick Alves kind of letting Robert Raider go on through. So really, I've been watching to keep an eye out of what is, how Robert Raider was kind of running these practice, and he's one of those guys. He's a rumble strip rider. So we'll see. I've seen some of these guys, going ahead and driving that really low line. Personally, that's probably why I'm no good at this track, because I thought you couldn't go below that yellow line to make that turn. So, obviously, as shows my expertise on that particular turn. But really, Robert Raider kind of holding it here in 5th place and working his way back up. It's kind of staying in contention, because right now, that is only 1 lap down, and he's already got a 2-second gap on the leader. There of Kevin Orlando, but maybe just kind of taking a conservative, getting those tires to heat up and get working here, and he'll work his way up front as he takes over Grant Thorpe there, and really look at him hopping those turns in that bus stop. So he does not take 1 inch. He wants to keep going and push his way on through.
He knows he's faster, but he's not going to push the matter too early on. It's a 40-lap race around here. There's going to be a lot of turns, and something that people don't talk about when talking about road racing is shifting. If you can get your shifts right, you will be able to gain time, but if you downshift a little bit too early, you can destroy the rear differential, and that can just send you into a spin, which will cost you more time. So people associate road racing with turning left and right, and as well as braking, but they never consider actually getting it through the gears.
Yeah, and really, whoa, boys, we see Logan Romney get a little off course there, and that's going to be okay here at the track. Watkins Glen and the update, they decided to take away that grass and the sand pit there just because they know so many people kind of drift out of control, and actually found that drivers could most of the time save the car if they went ahead and paved that. So fortunately, they paved on the outside turn 1 there to be able to, make it to where the guys can save these cars. Oh, dog, as Logan Romney gets airborne. Did you see that, Kynan?
I wasn't able to see it as up in the lead. The 13 of Erhardt is having to be defensive on the 27, but you take the curb on in these, and it's very easy to pop the wheel up into the air.
Oh, I understand that, and we'll kind of keep an eye on what he's got going on there in just a moment. But right now, Logan Romney and Ten Wreckage right here side by side heading into the final turn. But, man, they kind of drop back there a little bit and go ahead and get single file again, because it looks like Wreckage is having a little trouble as he's dropped back down to the 12th position. Really kind of getting out of sorts here. Had a good qualifying time, and he's not kind of off his game here. He's got to maybe recollect his car there. Man, he's just having a hard time keeping this thing on the track. He's fast. He's got a decent time, but he's 2 seconds off the fastest time he originally had.
Just as going into the bus stop, Raider was able to get a good run through the S's and was able to elevate himself up into 3rd, but Redditch got a little bit too aggressive on lap 1 and end up half spinning the car on the final turn, so that lost him some track position, but he's got some pace, so I'm sure he'll elevate his way back up for the field.
Yeah, but he's there will be no competition caution. There was some debate earlier in the week whether to have a competition caution or not. Personally, I think a competition caution would be great, because if you're somebody like Caleb Gilbert, who's now 20 seconds off the lead, Scott Negus, who's almost 42 seconds off the lead, so he's got to be careful. He may end up getting lapped here in 2 to 3 more laps. You got, let's say, Romney there, back 8 seconds. So, a competition caution would be great, let's say, around that 10 to 15 mark. Clump everybody back together. Holy cow, that was a heck of a run. Everybody get some tires and try this, try it again. But these guys are going to start spreading out, and really, you start missing those marks here, Kynan, and it is going to cost you. And you already see, Trevor doing a great job up here in the P1 position, but Robert Rader doing a great job staying there in the 3rd position now and putting a little work here on Kevin Orlando.
Rader early on would have seen that he had a lot more pace than everyone else, as he's going to be trying to get as good of a run for the carousel. He's going to be looking to the inside for the second last turn. Going to dive it up the inside, should be able to get it slowed down fairly easy on the 27. The 27 going to be looking to go to the outside. Not going to be able to quite get there in time, as Rader is able to get him under braking.
Oh,
man. Rader is going to have to go back to being defensive. 27 being able to carry a little bit more speed on that outside line. As the 27 looking to the inside, Rader almost cutting him off, having to then correct the car. Going to cost him a position, maybe even 2, as he's just fallen back, losing that bit of traction.
Yeah, really right here as I'm moving to Michelin Chopper view here, and we'll kind of give a look at here Robert Rader and Kevin Orlando going side by side, really giving it a good push. I think Justice Murphy's kind of camping out there, waiting to see if either of these two will knock each other out there, kind of keeping that safe distance. But boy, look at Kevin Orlando right there on the inside, on the outside of him now, kind of doing the touch and goes on him, but just barely almost didn't touch his bumper there on one of those turns, kind of, and really right through the carousel. Here we go, chasing him back down. So here we go. Kevin Orlando gets a great run in this turn, and you kind of see Robert Rader kind of fly off and run a little bit to the outside. So we'll see if he holds it any better this turn. Man,
someone who's going to be loving seeing this is Erhardt. He's going to be seeing that there's a battle for second right now, and that's just going to help him, but it seems like Rader has been able to clear it.
Wow, yeah, and these guys really, seem to be the closest ones out there, trying to keep it, nice and clean, moving around, everybody doing their thing. But how is Nick Alves doing? We saw him earlier in the race, racing next to Robert Rader. He's in the 7th position now, trying to get some work in up there on James Loveland. But really, Loveland's, half a second ahead of him, but he's really got to kind of work on, hitting his marks here and working his way back up toward the front. I know it's difficult here at Watkins Glen. Those first couple of laps, once the tires get settled in, the car almost plateaus a little bit. Oh, man, look at that. As they get airborne, really getting into that bus stop there. So we'll keep an eye on that. I don't know how the suspension will handle that for too long, but, as long as you land, I guess, back with the tires straight, we'll survive. But really, you kind of see here is everybody kind of starting to really spread out and kind of taking it easy here. As I believe we're going to roll back here to Wreckage here. Let's see how he's doing. He's about 12 seconds off the lead there. Trying to run down Travis Gilbert in the... What in the world? Travis Gilbert is in that 341 car. Check that out. I kind of like that. Those are almost 10-4 colors there. Sorry, his number kind of blended into the side there a little bit for me. But yeah, he's doing it. He's working up there. Somebody we haven't seen. I know we've seen Caleb Gilbert in the 40 before, and he's having some trouble back there in the 14th position. But really, I wouldn't count anybody out at this point. Seeing how this race is going. Like I said, we got 5 sets of tires. We're really coming up on the quarter mark here in a little bit. 10 laps in. So would you think tires are going to start setting in, or if these guys have been practicing all week? If, tires aren't really going to be an issue and fuel is.
From my experience, which I did a league race here on this new scan in this car about 8 weeks ago, and tires did matter. But saying that, left tires will also be a potential if drivers think that they can roll the dice a little bit. Having so much load on that left side of the car as Raider was getting a little bit loose, but tires will matter. You go hard and start sliding the car around, you're going to burn them up. So there's going to be some drivers just taking it easy, trying to get to that pit stop, just then take it easy on our lap, let the tires come to you, and then try have some sort of grip in the end.
Yeah, as it looked like, somebody might have blinked out there. Looks like Travis Gilbert. Something may have had a connection problem there. Let's see if we can grab somebody else here. We're up here. Robert Raider has now gotten massive separation from Kevin Orlando there, trying to be everywhere at the same time on the track. But he's now only a second and a half off Trevor. So Trevor has got to keep the pedal down there in the 13 car, because man, that 53 is coming on strong. And I just don't know if he's going to be able to hold him off. Another 3/10 shaved off just on the bus stop. So this may be the battle here coming up soon. But we will check in just very shortly. Grant Thorpe back here in the 5th position has worked his way up right behind Justice Murphy. And he has worked, he is in front of James Loveland and Nick Alves. So these guys, really kind of hitting their marks and starting to kind of feel the pressure of what these cars are doing and how they are reacting to these turns. But, notice I don't see anybody really starting to loosen up, get around, or clipping any walls yet. So it's they seem to be keeping them under control, and practice makes perfect here. But, so some just have it a little better than others here, kind of really of what they can handle and what they can do here at this track.
Luckily, Watkins Glen is very forgiving with getting into the walls. The only real problematic areas that you may have is in the S's and then the final turn. You might have a bit of issues in the bus stop, but that's if you try to be too aggressive on the corner entry, just trying to use too much of that inside curb, as the leader manages to make a mistake in the bus stop right as I was talking about it. So that's going to give Rhoda the lead of the race.
Oh man, and I am actually going to roll that back and see if we can get that pass, and that way no one misses that one. I unfortunately was not in that position, but let's see if we can go ahead and roll that back for the 10-4 replay right here. This is going to be the pass for the new lead and putting Robert Raider up here in front. As kind of says right there to the bus stop, wow. So just the entry way too late into turn 1. Robert Raider easily overtakes and goes ahead and works his way around. So really great move there, and really keeping up with the times there. But yeah, Trevor really in the hole now, because now he's 2 seconds back, and really, Robert Raider was doing a great job kind of catching up. But right now, between Kevin Orlando, Justice Murphy, and Grant Thorpe, these guys smushed together all within 3/10 of each other. So this is a battle that's starting to ensue here with the 12 car behind Kevin Orlando. Kevin is very calm, cool, and collected on most of these tracks I've seen him at, so I'm sure he's not really shaken up by seeing that car so close to his rearview mirror here, Kynan. But I don't, one slip up, as you can see, and now you're 2 seconds off as Trevor is trying to reel Robert Raider back in. So really got to start picking up the pace here and getting this thing squared away.
One area where you can gain a lot of time is under braking. It sounds obvious, but you can try push it a little bit deeper into the turn, but doing that you're going to risk locking up or even locking the rears, which then will, as Erhardt found out the hard way in the bus stop, is just going to start spinning the car. And luckily he didn't hit anything, but it's going to destroy the tires and not what you want to do, especially for time wise.
Yeah, really, this has become amazing here. Watching the Erhardtgroup 98 here at the Glen. This is just, this is really shaping up to be a heck of a race here, with a lot of these racers, just not very familiar making these right turns. I mean, you see they're doing a great job. They're handling the S's quite a heck of a lot better than I can do it. Some of the people out there in the chat, looks like a great season of VRA. Kynan, that a way to fight. So man, you got another fan out there. At least notice that you got close to getting it, but just 1 point away. But man, it's still heartbreaking. But it's got to get you charged and amped up for next season.
Yeah, that's for sure. And even if I didn't win, I can still take away and learn some things from it. So if you can learn something from a race, it's not that bad.
Yeah, really. Somebody's starting to learn a little something. Justice Murphy kind of figuring out how Grant Thorpe takes some of these turns and throwing a couple good blocks there, really jamming them up in the sixth and seventh turn as they're going through the eighth one here and going ahead and pushing on around, sliding through, getting on to the front stretch here as we go ahead and knock off lap 13. So really, man, it's starting to get kind of squirrely out there. I'm starting to notice Kevin Orlando having to take a little more conservative line there on the turn one. Still doing awesome, up there in the third position. But, Robert Rader right now has a 3.5 second gap on Trevor Erhardt. So you hate to see that car just kind of disappear off into the distance, and away he goes. But, I'm sure we still have a pit stop coming up, and that's where things are going to change. Now, Kynan, is it a good idea to make a 2-tire pit stop here at the Glen?
I've done a 4-tire pit stop and I've done a 2-tire pit stop, both in the same league on the same night. I found that taking left tires only was actually better than taking 4 tires. Just from that first race that I'd done, I'd paid close attention, found that I was wearing my right or my left-hand tires more, so I was like, may as well try something different here, try rolling the dice, and managed to gain 7 seconds from not having to lift the other side of the car up and then change those tires, and it just managed to tighten the car up ever so slightly in the parts where I needed it to, and it did end up helping me. So some drivers may want to risk it. I don't think Raider will personally. He's got the pace, he will know that he doesn't have to risk anything, but someone like Orlando or Erhardt might try to take a gamble just to try gain those extra couple of seconds in the pit stop stage.
Yeah, really, we're kind of taking a peek here at Robert Rader here. Really kind of driving away with this one as he's going around the carousel here. All the fans are watching him drive on by as he's using up all that track right there. And I just wonder if he just gear selection may be his secret here. As you can see, kind of really jockeying that car around to keep it, he's off pavement but on pavement. Maybe that's not what I'm looking for. He's off track but yet on. So, oh man, as you can see right there on the rumble strips, everybody's starting to get loose, and right there, also the same as Trevor, he got loose as well. So something to keep an eye out for as these guys are starting to feel the pressure. These tires wearing down. We're 15 laps in, so this is really got to pick a time. And I think everybody's watching to see if Robert Rader can hold out as long as he can. The key, I think, would be is to pit the same time he does. Because if you wait an extra lap, he's going to pick up more time. Let's see, Robert Rader, his fastest time is a 14.3. A 14.30, and his last lap was a 1:15.40. So he is a bit of fall off there. 1.1 seconds of fall off. So not too bad as compared to some of the other drivers here. We got let's see, Trevor had a 14.39, and his last one was a 16.1. So really, they got to be careful on when to pit, when not to pit, and how long to take, because this is going to be, this may be a big pit strategy game, especially with these guys. You see them diving down into that yellow line there on the final turn, and if you're coming into pit, man, you may have somebody almost have somebody coming at almost 90 to 100 miles an hour and put in the rear bumper, and then that could ruin your night. This because kind of there are no fast repairs in this league. So what you see, what you get, and the damage that ends up happening is final. So you've got to take care of your car.
Luckily, or I say luckily, but I was in a crash in that same league, and it was a crash that I got hit by multiple angles in the S's, just messy situation. I had damage on both front sides of the car, and the car wasn't. I would have thought the car would have been destroyed. Somehow it didn't get destroyed, so depending on if you just scrape the wall slightly or just make a bit of contact and just lift up your fender, it's not the end of the world here, luckily, for these drivers.
Yeah, I was going to say, and the only people right now, end of the world right now, is it looks like Scott Negus may be out, and I'm not sure on David Stanfield. I see he's out now. I don't know if he had to take it to pit or something happened, but it looks like Travis Gilbert may be in pit. There, looks like he's slapping on some tires. He went and said, "We're done. Let's go ahead and put another set on and get back out there." But yeah, he may have gotten bent up. It's showing him, I believe, on lap 9 there. So yeah, he may have ended up in a little bit of trouble earlier on. As we get up front here, back, let's see how Parker. That's who I'm looking for. Let's see. Yeah, Parker Johnson. I think that's who I'm looking for. But we're kind of taking a peek here at James Loveland here. Really, the smash up here of what you see kind of going on is we're going to actually rotate up to Thorpe and give you kind of that cockpit view of what he sees here. Oh, man. As we got in his car just in time to see a little bit of that. So you see him getting that loose, getting that inside mark here. Wow.
And being stuck on that outside, just not being able to carry the speed, Loveland is going to be looking to try capitalize on it, cutting down below to try then get the run to then look into turn 1.
Yeah, really, Kevin Orlando dialed back there to the 5th position. And now James Loveland's going to try to work on him there. So I like, yeah, right there, kind of making that inside move. But can he hold it right there? As we're going to see if we can take that right rear suspension view and see if we can see exactly where, if he's coming to get him. He's moving around.
Loveland seeing how Orlando is very loose right now, so he's just taking his time, knowing that still a long race. He knows he can get past him fairly easily if he really wanted to, but he doesn't want to risk damaging his car.
Yeah, and really kind of hopping through this bus stop here, you know, with the tires getting as loose as they are. I mean, tonight the track is at 105 degrees. Really good for the tires to a point. Good for them to warm up, get good traction earlier in the race, but later on this causes a lot of friction on those tires and will wear down a lot faster than they than you're going to want, because you kind of want longevity out here. You know, the longer you're out here, and instead of down pit road, the better. But Sean Lattin out there in the chat already calling it for a 5-peat. So if he wins 5 in a row, right now I believe he already has some league records here that he had all-time wins in this league. Robert Rader with 4. Consecutive wins is even 4. So tonight he could stretch that to 5 and go ahead and break that. But really, he's his largest margin of victory was a 21 seconds at the Charlotte race we covered. So, you know, he's having a heck of a season here, really keeping everything, you know, everything out there. He's owning most of the records out. The only thing he doesn't have is most laps led in a single race, which was held by Ray Lane of 109 laps. But that was a 200-lap race, and that man just Robert Rader just got him on pit strategy and just kind of waited him out, a little clip with the wall there, and that kind of got it ruined for him. So some of these guys are just having a little trouble getting this track, kind of figuring out really where to be and where to put this car. I mean, I will admit here, this is a challenging track. You know, with this being the road course and moving around and where to put the car, as we are coming up on the halfway mark here in a little bit. So, man, these guys have got to be thinking they need tires soon, because I just don't know how long these guys can hold out, as I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Grant Thorpe has gone ahead and thrown in the towel. He's going to do it. I believe Wreckage is, yep, he's down pit road now. So we got 2 guys already going ahead and throwing in the towel. Yep, go ahead. It's time. But kind of aiming when and where to pit. At this point, if you're running a minute and 15-second lap, how long does it take you to get down pit lane? Maybe 30 seconds. Then you still got another maybe 14 to 17 seconds of pit, and then another 30 to get out. So you'll already be a lap down coming out of pit road, or almost exactly where the same place you went in. And you gotta consider when you have those fresh tires coming up on somebody like Robert Rader, who's out here out front. He's got to have a good pit time. I'm assuming Robert Rader absolutely has to get 4 tires as we see him diving down pit road here. Really, wow. I'm waiting to see if Trevor decides to do the same thing. If he decides, yes, he does. He decides to come in. Let's see if Justice Murphy decides to stay out and going ahead and putting 1 up there. Bang. Lead lap. So that'll work good for him in the points here, and going ahead and getting a few marks for him out there for a couple of lead laps. James Loveland decided to stay out as well. And maybe he's trying to work and stay up, but I believe everybody else may have gone ahead and pit at this point. So really kind of a gutsy move to only see 2 guys that haven't really pit yet, and we're going to have to see how that turns out for them there, kind of.
One thing that these 2 are going to be looking at is, depending on how they've managed to save their tires, Loveland gaining a lot of time into the bus stop just then. But they're going to maybe try stretching these tires out and then try go a little bit harder in the end, and then try to make a last lap overtake or somewhere around there, just trying to put themselves in the most racy position, and then as well as potentially getting a couple of bonus points for leading laps.
Yeah, and it's going to be pretty tough to even get caution here at this track. If you do slide off track as a single car, it stays green. The only thing I believe to get a caution flag here is, let's say, somebody breaks loose. Boy, James Loveland goes ahead and stays out. Justice Murphy went and threw in the towel, and he's in pit. Is actually from multi-car pileup that does impede the traffic of the rest of the drivers. So, but seeing how spread out these guys are, that caution may be few far between in a fantasy at this point. Seeing these guys getting around the track here.
Loveland's going to be seeing how the 341 of Gilbert was able to easily get past him, so he's going to probably want to come in the next lap or 2 just to get new tires. Might try a gamble, but just being able to save those tires and getting that lap led could come crucial in getting those extra couple positions in the end of the championship.
Yeah, but we'll kind of keep an eye out. Travis Gilbert there in that 341 car. He did come in on pit on lap 9, and he is 7 laps down. So he may have the fresher tires, of course, being able to work around. But it's just kind of, James Loveland, Robert Rader's only 18 to 20 seconds behind him. So he's going to have to make a fast pit stop. Maybe only taking, 2 tires to stay out front here. But he's going to, just gets him locked up and slides in there. So right now, we're going to take a look at James Loveland and see what he decides to do, because time is ticking off fast. Robert Rader only 13 seconds behind now. 9 seconds behind. So, man, you just see how painful it is coming down pit. And the longer you're out, the more it's going to cost you. So I don't know if James Loveland will be able to, retain any position here. As we look, yep, a set of lefts, and if he gets rights, yep, he's getting right side tire. So he's going all 4 there. But right now, 4th position is where he is at this point, and we will see if this how much this costs him later on in the race. Back in the 5th position, still working his way back, but he's got to scoot out. I'm assuming probably 6th or 7th is where we're going to see him end up here. But can he get those tires tacked up, Kynan? We'll have to see.
If he's able to and just manages to just look after, especially the rear tires in particular, they will try to snap loose on you if you just overstep them. And once you overstep them once and start to get them overheated, it's even easier to do it again and then again. And then by the time you know it, you're just doing Tokyo Drift.
Oh, dog, as the 12 car is around. Justice Murphy around on the track. And I believe so far right now we are still under green. Single car, didn't involve anybody, was out of the race line. We are going to continue at this point. Wow. And I tell you what, Nick Alves had to, we caught that just in the screen. So that was that was awesome placement right there. As Nick Alves up to the 6th, Parker Johnson 7th, and Ted Rekich in the 8th, which moves Justice Murphy back to the 9th position. Really was doing a great job there. Just got a little loose on him, but coming out of that bus stop, aiming for the carousel turn. So, man, you just see how, you know, those fresh tires is just as what's going to start doing. It's going to get loose on you, and you got to wait for them to come to you at this point. But right now, Robert Rader in the lead, right ahead by 8 seconds. Fantastic job. We're going to move to commercial real quick, and we will be right back. And Chapman Environmental Services, proudly offering broad-spectrum regulatory compliance, permitting, field sampling, services, and more. Visit ChapmanES.com. And also, Erhardtgroup, your local experts and help making memories with personalized services. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Really, what a blast this race has been. We are coming down with only 16 laps to go. Robert Rader aiming for that 5, Pete, out there like Sean Lattin is saying. And really, I didn't expect this. He did not sound confident at all last week when we talked to him, Kynan, there in that winter, in the winner circle, that he was going to have any chance at this track really being able to make anything of it. But, he's been out here. He's been practicing. He's got this car squared away. And, I mean, just look at behind him. Not a soul. There he is. So, you just see the gap of 11 seconds. There's no one here. So, really, he's able to race his own race. He's actually picking up time. He's 11 seconds ahead. So, Trevor Erhardt, he's got the race line in some areas, but not in others. Wow. Yeah, and you just see that amazing gap. That no one's there. As we're going to roll back to, let's see, some people that are closer right there. Kevin Orlando and James Loveland going ahead and giving it another go as these two are pushing next to each other. Oh, man. Yeah, really great racing. I expect to see how these two dive in here into turn 1. Get a good angle here. There we go. As you can see, James Loveland trying to take a little more of aggressive line here. We're using up a lot more track than he is getting around. Now, Kynan, is it good to use a lot more of the track, swing maybe more inside and let the car drift farther outside than since you have the real estate to do it? Or is it better to keep that line nice and tight and really kind of place how you are throughout the turn?
It's really dependent on how your car is driving at the time, who you're around, and obviously which corner. As we're in the carousel now, you want to keep it hugging that inside, but on exit around here you want to start opening the wheel and then try to let it float out and run over the outside curb, as Loveland nicely demonstrates for us. He's going to use that bit of extra speed he was able to carry on exit, put it up the inside. 27 having to run out a bit wider just to give him a bit more space. Loveland should be able to pull away now.
Wow, yeah, and James Loveland there, especially with such a late pitting, and we say late, but that only 2 laps later than Kevin Orlando there, but actually, from Grant Thorpe 3 laps later. So, just kind of the timing and whether those 3 laps may work out for him in the end, or is he having to push harder on those tires to work his way up front? We'll have to see how that unfolds. We still have 14 laps to go here in this duel that these guys are running here tonight in the Racing Revolution. This is something. I'm not a huge road course fan, but I am a fan of racing, and if it has to be at a road course, then so be it. But with these guys being able to get around here, fantastic job. And really, the only thing we saw was Justice Murphy getting undone there, getting spun around, unfortunately, as it looks like Ray Lane may be out and Logan Romney may be out. So we already have 4 drivers out of the running so far. I do not know if it was damage at this point. We may have to get a hold of race control and see if anything like that happened, or what what in the world happened with that piece there. But it's this is starting to become a heck of a run here. And are you going to call out who you think you might have as the winner?
Well, I'm pretty sure we all have our bets on Raider to win the race. He's still pulling away, just being able to manage that gap. I'm willing to bet that he knows this and he's just saving his tires just so then he doesn't make any foolish little mistakes that he doesn't need to. So if he just keeps doing what he's doing, he will easily win this.
Yeah, and really he's doing a fantastic job out there out front. We'll kind of keep an eye on him for a little bit as he looks like he gets around that lapped car of Trevor Gilbert there, and they move around. Excuse me. Wow, Travis Gilbert, my bad, bud. But yeah, we can see him getting a good run around here in the 53 machine. That Chapman Services car, we've seen it out front a lot in these races here in the Racing Revolution League. Just, I mean, absolutely able to put this down, where he needs to have it and how he goes. Tonight is Watkins Glen, but next week we're actually looking at Pocono. Now, I've raced at Pocono a couple of times, and it's the track that has 3 different turns. You've got a flat one, you got one that's banked very well, and then the other one, it's kind of a mix-up. So, it's that one's a track to tackle as well. And really what, these guys putting on such diverse tracks, of where to go. I mean, last week we were at Dover at the Monster Mile. That was a blast, on that concrete track, seeing those guys get around there. But, here tonight, I mean, once again, Robert Rader taking off, but really not by too much. I want to keep an eye on Trevor here. He did at one point there start reeling him in there by a few seconds, but I think he's losing a little bit of time in that bus stop, and he's still about 11 seconds behind. So he's got a comfortable spot, but he's not liking how far back he is at this point, and this may have already put the kids to bed at this point. I don't know if Trevor can reel him in unless Robert Rader gets in a bit of a mess. But I mean, man, I'm not sure what to expect out of some of this, out of the rest of this race here, Kynan. I know these guys are doing the best they can, but in your gut, do you think they should have maybe rallied back and said, that competition caution may have been, needed?
It's really hard to say. There's going to be the road enthusiasts who don't want the competition caution. It'll throw strategy kind of out the window and make it kind of redundant, but there's going to be the others where it's be like, well, if we bring out a competition caution, we're going to all be bunched back up. People can get some damage repaired and then might be able to mix things up. So however you look at it, someone's going to lose out, but Raider is not going to lose out, so he's probably glad that we don't have the competition caution.
Yeah, but I mean, people like Parker Johnson, I saw had fast times in the practice. Nick Alves back here, we're talking about the guys here in the 6th and 7th position here. I'm sure they would like to have another shot. These guys are 26, 27 seconds back, and that's absolutely crucial. So you want to get back in the game. You want to get back up there. I mean, you see kind of how it is here, kind of. One bad turn and your race may be changed forever, and really being able to not dig out of this hole. And it's just, I mean, it's still 6th and 7th, still respectable spots, but everyone's aiming for these podium positions, and that's the only thing that gets me about road racing is just the accuracy you have to have here. I mean, if you get a little, let's say kind of crummy there at, let's say, Charlotte Motor Speedway, in 10 to 12 seconds, I can try again and make up or do a little better in the next turn, or I learned a little bit. Here, it's kind of, if I miss this bus stop by, half a car length, it's going to send me careening out of control, and then, you know, I'm fighting the car all over the place, increasing my tire wear, and there we are. So, I mean, I don't know, kind of. I would have liked to see the competition caution to really see if anybody can give Robert Rader another run for his money there. But yeah, seems to be a runaway for him.
I've just been watching Raiders on board, and he's just been kind of taking it easy. I say that as he gets quite sideways in turn one over the curb, but we saw this last week and past weeks. Even if he's not the quickest, he's able to extract the most out of the car over the entire run. Not just the short run, but the entire run, and that's when it matters. If you can have a good car at the start, yes, it can help. But if you can have a good car in the end, that's going to be where it matters the most.
Yeah, and we're kind of taking a look back here at Ted Wreckage here. Oh, boy. All right, cool. Sorry, it was getting pretty close. I had a couple lapped cars there. They went ahead and moved. Caleb went ahead and moved toward the inside there. Good move, you know, kind of taking his time and staying out of the way there. I appreciate any driver decides to do that and not cause a tie-up for some of these guys on the lead lap. But, you know, really, this is heartbreaking, man, just not being able to see some of these guys that just don't have that second or third chance to get back up front. You know, as we see James Loveland, he did a great job there, but he's still 3 seconds off Grant Thorpe. You know, yes, he can see him. He's got him out. He's got him out of that windshield, but just so far away. It's just hard to kind of reel these guys in and capitalize and come back. So, but we're going to take a little ride here with James Loveland here and kind of see how he does. As I'm noticing, you kind of see how conservative he is. Yeah, kind of having that throttle almost just under about 75% there. That way he doesn't skid away. Let's see how he does for the bus stop here, kind of.
Very easy. Just going a bit later on the downshifts, just so then he doesn't have the risk of wheel hopping, which can spear him into the wall, or just make him miss the bus stop, which will cost a lot of time. So just taking it easy, slowly trying to reel his way back up to the 77-4.
Yeah, and kind of seeing if anywhere in that windshield, if we notice he's kind of gaining any time on some of these sections here. It looks like in these two turns right here, in the final turns, is where he starts kind of gaining on him. But man, and you see him get loose right there. That just kind of almost nixes that. And he's only 2 seconds off him now, so really got to just kind of keep hitting his marks like we were saying. But I don't know if Grant Thorpe all of a sudden had a little bit of trouble there in the 77 car. You know, he got a little loose there, but he seems to be back under control. He's got these S's going great for him in that Dollar General machine. And really, you know, there ain't much you can say about that line he's running there. He seems to be doing very, very well. But somebody to keep an eye on. Let's go back to Erhardt. Kind of seeing what he's doing is he's getting in that. And I think that's kind of what's tripping me up a little bit. I don't know if any of you are noticing up on that top ticker there that, you know, he gets within that 8.5 second mark once they get through the bus stop, and then back through the carousel, he's 11 seconds behind again. So I don't know if he's faster in that one section there, kind of, but we are coming up 7 to go. So this thing is just about wrapping up here. You know, and man, really, give me something, man. Give me something. What is your overview of this race so far?
Tires once again have been mattering like they did every other time that I've raced here. In that first half of the race, Loveland was able to claw his way up towards the end of the stint, and it seems like he's trying to replicate that today to snag the final step on the podium. Just taking it easy, trying to save his tires, just trying to find a bit of, even if he loses a bit of time for a couple of turns, he's able to claw it back in the long run, just having that extra bit of grip. So it'll be interesting to see if he's able to catch and pass Thorpe, because I've said it before in other broadcasts on 10-4, but It's one thing to catch, but it's another to pass.
Yeah, and that it is, and really great racing here that we've seen. At the Erhardt Group 98 here at the Glen. I mean, these guys, give them a check out there on Facebook, and even on their good lord, it's been a heck of a night for me. Everybody check them out on their website, Erhardtgroup.com. Your local experts in helping making memories with personalized service. As you can see, Trevor Erhardt there is in second place, and he is able to keep this thing up there for a podium finish here tonight. As long as he can keep this thing in one piece, we do see him rocking that red, white, and blue on the side of the car with the Black Rifle Coffee on the back. So fantastic paint job. I like the way he's got that going on there. But we are going to rotate up to Robert Rader right here, and kind of just look at really his technicality of how he does these turns. And we're going to kind of give him a quick little ride along here, and we will kind of be quiet and let's take a listen in on him messing with the throttle and giving this thing everything he's got to keep this thing out front. Alrighty, everybody, and hopefully you all were able to crank that up there a little bit and kind of take a quick look at really what his absolute fastest times out here. His fastest time tonight has been a 1 minute 13:22. So really, just a blistering speed of what he's been doing here tonight is, being able to really get this thing down placed where he wants it to go. As I'm going to go ahead and put that up there on the ticker so you can kind of see the difference just here in the top in the top running of these guys. As we rotate back here to Grant Thorpe, and that'll give us the top 6 of you see how fast really Robert Rader is out here on the track. So last lap he was even ran a 1 minute 14:9. And really Trevor Erhardt there ran a 1 minute 15:7. So you just see a whole lot of fall off. That was almost a second slower. So I think everyone's kind of starting to feel the pace here really starting to kind of either slack off, and Robert Rader somehow in the midst of this is picking up the pace to get this thing underway. But we have 3 laps to go, and just an absolute blast. What these guys have going on here. And I'd like to give a little shout out to one of our sponsors, Admin Box. No cautions happened tonight. No black flags were required. These guys did spread out pretty well and kind of kept to themselves. But yeah, Admin Box is one of those USB plug and play, on the fly league admin administrator for you out there. If you want to throw out black flags, if you've got a scheduled caution or such as the competition caution, you can't really program those into racing applications such as iRacing. That would be your job. And this, instead of fumbling around over there with a keyboard going, oh man, which button did I hit? Or you hit the wrong one, you're able to go over there, hit that programmable button that you've set. It even has the cool little logo on the front for the yellow flag. You know to click that, and then everyone gets that competition caution. Bang. Everybody's back out there, and then kind of get, that thing back together. But, some people do and do not like those competition cautions. I know I see Stellar Stella out there, one of our frequent viewers here at 10-4 Broadcasting. thinks a competition caution punishes the drivers who are doing well in favor for those who are less successful. Absolutely, I agree with that. But sometimes you do have some of these drivers out there that walk away with the race. I've been in Powerhouse Racing League here at the Glen with Lucas Gortman, and he left the entire field by a 45-second lead in the ARCA cars. And that is absolutely, you got to be sitting in second going, I'm running my fastest. The guy in third, he's running his fastest. And you kind of see how these guys are getting spread out. So let's say Robert Rader here. We got Trevor Erhardt back by 13 seconds. Grant Thorpe off another 3 seconds after that. James Loveland right on his rear tail as the white flag is out now. And then you got Kevin Orlando 26 seconds and Nick Alves 27 seconds off the lead. So it may be just kind of from my view. Unfortunately, I would like to see everybody kind of clump back together and at least give somebody another shot instead of this being an absolute runaway and a domination here by Robert Rader. We'll be talking to him in the winner's circle, but I'll probably let him do 90% of the talking because, man, I'm starting to run out of questions for him because we have seen him so much. I mean, it's just kind of those Jeff Gordon, Richard Petty sort of moments. He's just all I do is see him in the winner's circle, and it's starting to it's starting to really get the curiosity of a lot of these drivers as we see Robert Rader. We're kind of following along with him here again coming up on the final turn. He will be taking the checkered flag home tonight. And man, I'm sure this has got to be getting old for him as we see him crossing the finish line. Man, right there and taking the Erhardtgroup 98 here at the Glen. Man, what a blast. Looks like Caleb Gilbert there
Loveland's
goes ahead.
Going to get him.
Full sends that
Loveland
thing.
was able to get Orlando on the second last turn, just taking it easy, going in, was able to cut back underneath whilst Orlando had gone straight, just overdriving the turn, and that's all it wrote.
Oh, really? So, okay, hold on. So, who ended up getting past there?
Orlando ended up messing up slightly, and Loveland was able to cut underneath for third.
Okay, there with Grant Thorpe. Okay, I see what you're saying. So we're gonna I'm gonna roll that back. I'm sorry, everybody. Kind of unfortunate there. We're gonna go ahead and take a quick look and double check and see what we got going on here of this pass for the third position, and see how this worked out.
Loveland just was taking his time, just trying to set it up for here. You can see him looking to the outside, able to carry that bit of extra speed, just not sliding the tires. You'll then see him back off early going in, so then try to cut underneath as Thorpe just overdrove it, and then Loveland was able to get to the outside. Thorpe tried to get back up the inside, but Loveland was able to get back on sooner.
Oh, man. Yeah, really, you got to be thinking, Grant Thorpe's like, man, I had it. I was so close. And really just kind of, dang. And that was it on that one. Holy cow. Wow. Yeah, and I will take a look here. I think everybody's kind of enjoying that off the side there, being able to burn out all as a league. I like that part. Man, really, what a run that was. That was kind of a smash and grab and go and make it happen. I'm not sure. Look at these guys. Good Lord. How these guys are getting everything wrapped up. Holy cow. 5 races in a row for Robert Rader. Wow. I mean, I'm almost at a loss for words here, Kynan. Really, how he was able to do that.
From what I was watching, he was just able to take care of his tires. He knew he had the speed advantage. He had no reason to really push it. So in his mind, he would have known, just take it easy, just save some tire for the end. So if someone was able to climb up to catch him, he was able to use that little bit extra grip and pace he had left over to then be able to hold it off. So just being able to take it easy, have a car underneath you in the end, and to finish first, You first, you must finish.
And I totally agree with that. And I believe James Loveland is our guy in the third position, if I'm not mistaken. Is that who you're showing there, Kynan? Is in the yeah? It should be him in the third position. James Loveland third, and I should have uh, Trevor. Trevor should be in second, and Robert Rader came out in the first position. I'm kind of taking a peek out there, seeing why Trevor is showing him in eighth. Huh. There we go. It looks like we're kind of lining up for the last of the racers here. I mean, I think everybody's just trying to catch up and get everybody where they need to be out there in the race. I know everybody's early on celebrating there, kind of getting this thing clipped and back together. But boy, it looks like James Loveland. We're gonna go ahead and pull him down into the booth. James Loveland, do you have a copy?
I got you.
Man, what a move there on that last lap there, kind of taking over Grant Thorpe. Not what I expected from there. Did your later pit strategy, did that play into effect for that last pass?
Yeah, I think a little bit it did, but also I noticed he was really trying hard to keep in front of me, and he was kind of missing corners and going off track a little bit. So I was just trying to pressure him as much as I can there.
Okay, I was gonna say, yeah, a lot of these guys, Robert Rader and Erhardt there. Excuse me. Wow, having trouble getting that one out. Is they kind of ran off with this one, and I noticed you were able to get a lead lap out there out front, but man, they just had put on a clinic today, and I wasn't sure. I mean, how were you feeling about this track when you originally showed up? Did you think you were going to get a podium finish tonight?
Absolutely not. I am not the best road course racer, but I enjoy this track. It's probably one of my favorite road course races, so I just figured just go out and try to get a top 10. I thought I was going to wreck, to be honest, but I don't know. The longer I went, the better I was getting. I think I was running top lap times after that pit stop. So yeah, I'm more than happy with the result.
Yeah, well, I mean, really, it was interesting. I was I wasn't bashing you. I was a little concerned about how long you were staying out there. I wasn't sure if everyone kind of needed to really pit the same time Robert Rader did to stay in contention, and you proved me wrong there. I thought, maybe, you may be in a little bit of trouble coming in with him only 18 seconds off your back bumper, but it did work out for you. Really, what was your favorite turn out there here at the Glen?
Yeah, with him being up front, him and Trevor, they were kind of in their own league. My plan was just to finish the best I could, and I stayed out a little longer to get that extra, that lead lap, and just to have the fresher tires, just to see what I could do. But I mean, I'm just more than happy with what I did. I did a couple changes during the race, shifting wise and whatnot, to improve my lap times, and it's was working really well. So I just can't be more happier than third place.
Yeah, third place is still a great job. Here at the Glen, we know that's lefts and rights, but now we're going to change up the track next week to 3 different turns that are all not the same, and that's, of course, a Pocono. How are you feeling about that track?
Pretty good track. I enjoy that track. It's difficult. They call it the tricky triangle for a reason, but it's really fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm pretty fast there, so I hope to be up front and compete for a win.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, because I knew we kind of were keeping an eye out for you there at Dover. So we will see you up in the front at Pocono. Here in the 10-4 broadcasting, we're going to go ahead and give you a chance to give a shout-outs to all your sponsors and anybody who's watching for you for placing a podium finish tonight.
Yeah, shout out to you guys at the broadcast, as always. And shout out to the league. That was really fun race last night, and shout out to the league sponsor as well, Erhardtgroup. And yeah, shout out to my team. We had a pretty solid run. Unfortunate for Ray Lane not to finish the race, but the rest of us did pretty solid.
Yeah, I thought some of the guys they ended up ended up out there later on. I wasn't sure if there was some mechanical problems or what happened there. And I think we were following Ray, and I thought he had a disconnect issue. But, yeah, hopefully we'll see him out at Pocono with you as well. James Loveland, pleasure to have you up here in the booth, bud.
Yep. Thanks, guys, for having me.
Yeah, wow. What an awesome job there by Loveland, being able to take that pass later on in the race and really place where he wanted to be, kind of wait Grant Thorpe out and then overtake. I mean, that was something, really something you didn't expect, and then was able to pull it out later toward the bottom. But really rotating our second place finisher here of Trevor Erhardt. We're going to pull Trevor down here into the booth, and what a blast he had. I know he gave it all it had to stay up front and kind of reel this thing in, but man, it started getting away from you there a little bit toward the end.
Yeah, just a little bit. Made that mistake in the bus stop. Gave the lead to Rob and just overheated the tires trying to run him back down before the pit stops, and we were pretty equal on the long run. Just lost too much time to him there at the beginning. But overall, it was a great race. Happy with the second place. Just mad at myself for making that stupid mistake going through the bus stop.
Nah, it all happens. And then when Kynan and I were talking about it at one point, really, what one missed turn can cost you almost the race, and unfortunately that seems to be exactly what happened here. Grant Thorpe had one mistake there, allowed James Loveland to take over. I believe Kevin Orlando saw one of those as well. Somebody made a mistake. He was able to capitalize, and I believe Justice ended up spinning out at one point. So really, yeah, it was just really no cautions, no wrecks, but you did see some stumbles there. And really, still, regardless, you came out in second place. Is this where you expected to be tonight?
Yeah, I expected Rob to be quick. Justice and all those guys were usually all fairly close during road course races, and it comes down to who doesn't make any mistakes or makes the least amount of mistakes. And Rob drove a fairly perfect race there, and and that's all it takes. You don't make a mistake, and you can come out pretty well off. And hats off to him for running a clean race, but proud of the result that we got here tonight.
Yeah, and really. Just a fantastic job of you being able to kind of overcome and stay out front. I wasn't sure if your car was starting to loosen up there toward the end on that long run, but you were able to keep it between the two grass lines and keep really the car on the ground. But man, tell me about this Erhardtgroup that is sponsoring the race here tonight.
So big shout out to the Erhardtgroup for jumping on board tonight. Great real estate team down here in Norman, Oklahoma, run actually by my parents. So shout out to them for sponsoring tonight and jumping on the car. If you guys ever need any real estate needs down in Oklahoma, they are the ones to call. They are the experts. Doesn't matter if it's a residential house, a farm and ranch, they've got you covered. So huge shout out to them for coming on board tonight. We put on a good show for them with them on the car. Just a little upset we couldn't get the W for them, but second place, we'll take it and we'll go on to next week.
Yeah, that's fine. I was gonna, and you can't blame yourself. I mean, you still ran a great race. It just seems that Robert Rader just has a knack for whatever you guys are doing this season. You may have to run maybe the season backwards or something and see if you guys can trip him up. But man, fantastic run. Were there any other shout outs that you want to give tonight before we let you get back to pit road?
Shout out to you guys for the broadcast. It's been great having you guys on board. Shout out to everybody in the league. I know road courses aren't everybody's forte, so happy to see the good turnout that we had tonight. And shout out to my friends and family that are watching back home. And again, shout out to our wonderful sponsors, the Erhardtgroup, for jumping on board this week. And we'll see you back here next week.
Excellent. I couldn't agree more. Next week we are at Pocono. And I hope we get more than 16 drivers out there. I mean, like I said, like you were saying, I mean, even great turnout tonight, but man, I hope to see, 25, 30 drivers out at that one. I think everybody just gets a little gun shy of these road courses. But regardless, Trevor, fantastic job. And I will let you get back to partying with the other guys, man.
Thank you. You have a good one.
Wow, yeah, and Kynan, man, don't be gun shy. These are happy. These guys are happy as clams, man. And really, I think I'm gonna let you take Robert Rader here, as once again he has come, he is gone, and really it's I'm not sure 100% what can stop this guy at this point. Is win after win after win. Once again, Sean Latin out there called it again. That is going to be a 5-peat. I've never heard of a 5-peat, but I have tonight. And Robert Rader is on the on the clock with us, man. Work us through what happened tonight.
Man, it was so much fun. This was the race that, I mean, if you looked at the entire schedule and said, pick the race that you're most likely to lose, this is definitely the one I would have picked. But had really, really good pace tonight. It sucks that that Trevor ended up going off in the bus stop there because, you know, that hurt his tires on the first run. But on that second run, we were really even, and I feel like we would have had, you know, one heck of a battle all the way down to the checkered flag had that not happened. So, you know, it could have been a better race for the lead, I think, for sure. But I mean, I couldn't be happier than to get the Chapman car in victory lane again.
I mean, going into Pocono next week, do you think it'll be a little bit different? What's your expectations for it?
Well, I mean, not to be the guy who says he's not going to be good every week and then wins, but Pocono is like kind of like Watkins Glen isn't one of my better tracks. And I know there's, you know, it's kind of like a road course, right? You have the different corners and heavy braking, and so a lot of those characters are going to be there next week too. I expect Trevor to be really good there. James will certainly be really good there. Justice will probably be really good there. A couple others. I mean, so we'll see. But I mean, I feel better about that one than I did today. Although I will say that we had every Tuesday we have a practice session with all the guys, and we host it and open hosted, and I was a little off on pace there. And then of all people, Ty Gibbs showed up and ran just a killer lap, so I just studied the hell out of what he did, and that picked me up over a second on my pace. So shout out to Ty Gibbs.
I mean, if there's anyone to really show you how to go quick, it's someone who actually drives this thing in real life. So either way, going back to qualifying when you had that small error and then that ultimately cost you potentially pole and then set you back for that initial restart or race start, what was your plan of action for the rest of the race? Was it to just take it easy, or was it to get to the front as soon as you could?
Yeah, it was not a very good qualifying effort. Lap 1 went down in the bus stop and accidentally downshifted into first gear, so I'm actually amazed I didn't blow the engine or wreck there. And then I was just frustrated and tried too hard on lap 2. I got in the grass, and so we just ended up with a bad lap. But you know, the plan was to not make mistakes. You know, it's been a big reason why I've won these 5 races so far. You know, I think I've told you guys after every race that, you know, there have been guys faster than me most of these weeks, and they make mistakes and I don't. And I've won a lot of races by making up time on pit road and just not making mistakes. So starting 6th, I think it was, you know, obviously get through turn 1 clean, try not to get any damage through turn 1, and then just take your time, 40 laps, keep all 4 tires on the track, and hope that other guys make mistakes, and fortunately for me, they did.
With the mistakes, from your perspective, being the race leader, what was the hardest part of the entire track? What part did you feel that if you were going to make a mistake, which would it be?
Yeah, I mean, the bus stop's always tricky, but I feel like in these cars, the carousel is really difficult. You're carrying a lot of speed. You're trying to stay in the throttle because it's a momentum part of the racetrack. You can make or lose a ton of time. You know, if you just screw that up. And as you go over that left-hander at the top of the hill, the car gets really light. And if you're still in 3rd gear, the back tires start to spin. And as you turn the car back to the right, you can get really loose I bet somebody probably got some significant damage tonight by doing that. But my plan there for that part of the racetrack was just to upshift into fourth early. That way we could keep the traction down in the rears, and that seemed to work out pretty well.
I mean, it may be a difficult part of the track, but you're able to master it. So, with that being another win, who do you have to thank for getting you into victory lane?
Yeah, we got to thank Erhardtgroup for coming on and sponsoring the race, of course. So we appreciate that. It's too bad Trevor came up a spot short because I know he really wanted to win that one for them. But yeah, shout out to Erhardtgroup. And then obviously Chapman Environmental Services for sponsoring the league as well as the car. Just without their support, we wouldn't have you guys to do our awesome broadcasts. So I really appreciate them. And then Butt Kicker for putting up a prize for us this year, which is looking pretty good. Like, that's getting shipped to my house right now. We'll see. Don't want to jinx it or anything, but hopefully that's how that goes. So shout out to Butt Kicker. They make an awesome product. So really glad to have them on board too.
Well, that's good. Yeah, Patrick, do you have any questions?
Nah, man, just a fantastic run. I mean, so far out of these races, you've got 5 down, and I believe 5 more to go, if I'm not mistaken.
5 to
Yeah,
go.
it looks like 5 more to go. So we got Pocono, Talladega, Kansas, Nashville, and Phoenix coming up. I mean, really, seeing you've taken away 5, you've won half the races for the year, and I think some guys are going to ask you to sit out 3 of them to catch up, just for the points run there. But Robert, another great race tonight, bud, and I am impressed. I think you've still got it in you to win Pocono. I'm not saying I wouldn't like to see you in Winner's Circle, but you're starting to I'm starting to run out of content to be able to talk to you about, because it's just so much, man. You're able to get out here and do a great job every week, and it's just it really is amazing.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Patrick. Yeah, they made me work for it this week, or I guess I made me work for it by messing up qualifying. But before I forget, always got to give a shout out to Sean, my buddy Sean, who likes to watch the races. I don't know if he was in the comments talking trash this week or not, but always appreciate Sean, and really appreciate you guys for the broadcast. Patrick and Kynan, you guys do an awesome job, so we appreciate you.
All right, and we appreciate you, bud, and we'll let you get back to pit road there and kind of let it go with the boys.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You too. Wow, Kynan, really, you can just another win, 5 down, and 5 to go at this point, and it really, when you can count the races all in one hand, you're starting to question, is he going for that 6th? I mean, the answer, of course, Kynan, is yes, but he's not sure. He wasn't sure about this track, and here he is, a winner by over 12 seconds. There toward the end, and he's got Pocono coming up, 50 laps there, so he may try to be careful with that one and only do a 1-tire pit stop there. But any final thoughts here, Kynan?
It's shaping up to be an interesting season. See if anyone can manage to close the gap, but there's only one way for the viewers to be able to find out, and that's to subscribe. So may as well do it, and if you enjoyed this broadcast, hit the like.
Oh yeah, like, subscribe, follow us on Twitch. Soon we will be having a website up, so you can find all the leagues and all the times that we are on here at 10-4 Broadcasting. Sponsored by Admin Box, as always. We love them. They love us. Giving them a quick shout out there. And we hope to see you guys next week here at Pocono for the Racing Revolution. We'll be at Haas, the High Octane Speed Series, on Friday. For that race, that is their season opener at Daytona. You can catch us there. An exciting race that one will be. I'm sure they will have about 30 to 35 drivers showing up for that brawl. Later this week. And thanks from all of us from 10-4 Broadcasting. This is Patrick Morrison. Kynan Jones joining me once again here. And we will see you guys next time.